Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play the Misadventures of Tron, Bonne. In the last part for the 9th anniversary, we went through another one of the RPG stages and I think finished off the Mission 2 variety of the cargo stages. And also, I forgot to mention this back when, we also completely maxed out the goo stuff, so now there's no more energy tanks, we have the armor, we have all the weapons, the goo stuff's basically about as powerful as it's ever going to get. And now it's time for us to do more missions. I know, surprising, right? In particular, this time around, for the 270 sub special, about 20 subs late, we're going to be going after the Mission 6 variety of the cargo containers, as well as the last of the digging missions up in the caves. I should also note that in terms of getting all of the serve bots abilities, we're getting pretty down to the wire with that. More or less, by the end of this part, any serve bots' brains that need to be raised for their individual abilities are raised. All that's left at this point is to raise the speed and attack stats of certain serve bots to get their special abilities left, because brains are more or less done for anyone that needs it. Our targets this time are the containers filled with pearls and gold. Wow! But don't let what we're taking distract you. I need everyone to be alert and working hard. I don't want any mistakes, all right? Yes, Miss Tron. Good. Everyone, move out. Roger. All right, mission time.
We're after pearls this time. We're looking at a lot of zenny if we get them all. Miss Tron, are you going to be able to carry everything? Your lift number is really low. Let's use that crane over there. It can only move containers within a certain radius. But moving them with the crane means we won't have to use the Gustav tank. It's all up to you. I'm counting on you. Roger. You can depend on me, Miss Tron.
Alright, the cranes here work a little bit weirdly compared to what you might immediately think they do. I'll let the servbot in charge describe it best, though, because all you need to do is just beacon bomb them in order to actively use it. That's me accidentally pressing the L2 button. I don't think I mentioned it thus far. L2 actually just takes you back one move. It allows you to do that without going into the menu to move back a single move. We can use this to move the containers. Use the directional button to rotate the crane and the L1 and R1 buttons to turn it. Press the triangle button to pick up or put down containers. If you want to go back, press the X button. Here we go. Compared to other crane types, this works a little bit oddly in my eyes, because most cranes in video games, the way they work is that you press left and right to rotate them left and right, and then you direct them to raise or lower from there. The crane in this game works with the D-pad in that when you press a direction on the D-pad, it goes to that direction. If it's all the way up and you press down, it'll just face south completely. And that takes a surprising amount of getting used to. I don't know why, it really just does for me. Additionally, and you might even hear it in the music a little bit, but every time you first access a crane in one of these missions moving forward, they play that cutscene again. And I'm just gonna skip past that to save some time. Additionally, it allows me to think about the mission in the case I, mess up. Like this. Whoopsie! Now, I probably should talk about this, even though I believe I mentioned earlier. I'm about 20 subs late on this, but thank you guys so much for 270 subscribers. It really does mean a lot. The entire reason this is getting to be so late and getting to you is a mixture of procrastination, working on other projects, procrastination, getting into streaming a little bit too much. I don't even think I've talked about that much on the channel. I'll probably talk about that in like an update video or something. But yeah, I've started streaming over on my own Twitch channel, and that's a thing. And procrastination. It really does mean a lot, though. Like I always say it every goddamn time, but the fact that many people follow me, which is, I think at this point we're getting close to like the size of my high school graduating class, is ridiculous to me. It's incredible. Thank you so much. Now, let's talk about something a bit more interesting. Throughout the game, obviously, we've been operating all 40 serve bots in some capacity. And the Legends games, outside of this, namely Legends 2 and some of the other Capcom games, mention that there are more than 40 serve bots. But there's only 40 in this game, normally. Released through the magazine Dengeki G in Japan, through a save available net, was the exclusive servbot number 41, who is a bit of an oddball. He's got a very odd face to start. He has max stats of 4 on everything, meaning he is theoretically the best servbot in the game. The only thing is he can't become a favorite because he has a unique blue headpiece. And I believe he even has, like, fully translated dialogue and everything. Like, I think his description is something along the lines of, no one knows where the hell this guy came from. And I believe there's a game share code to access him on the PlayStation. If I can find that, I'll put that on screen now. He's an oddball, but I find the fact he's there interesting. He gets referred to through various other media in the series a lot, and I just find that funny. In fact, I think back when Legends 3 was being worked on, they had that, like, servbot for him. I believe at least numbers 1 through 40 were taken, and maybe even 41 and 2. I can't quite recall. And that kind of goes into another thing with this game. In Japan, I believe this game had some amount of integration with the Pocket Station, which was this weird little memory card peripheral, which was sort of along the lines of a PDA or the Dreamcast's VMU, where you could, like, have certain game integrations for mini-games and things of that nature. I know Final Fantasy VIII also integrated on it a little bit. It was odd, but pretty interesting to me. From what I've heard, some of the games that integrated it did it pretty in-depth. From what I'm aware with this game, it went for kind of a Chow Garden VMU integration from Sonic Adventures 1 and 2 on the Dreamcast, where you could train your Chow / serve bots up in this case, individual minigames to get their stats up, and even, I think there were just 2 outright removed items from the game's code, or at least removed from accessibility in the US version, like a beauty book and a rusty cannon you could give to, I want to say number 38, to unlock new minigames for the Pocket Station. It's always a shame to see peripherals like that go the wayside, and thus a lot of features that had a lot of care put into them into a game get removed, but at the same time, I get it, because having that entire menu there alone without the peripheral being released would probably be pretty glaring. Although I think similarly to number 41, you can access the menu for the Pocket Station through some Game Shark code in the US version. But I believe using it might cause your save data to get wiped, potentially, due to the fact that, you know, that we didn't have the peripheral, and therefore integration with saves would be spotty at best. I think there's also just outright some content we know is in the game that just never got put in, like unused textures and maps and shit like that. Most of it pretty of the era, like unused backgrounds that are at night and shit. The cutting room floor article for this game is pretty interesting in that regard. I think there's a lot of dummied out items or something like that. And I believe that's Mission 6, Level 2.
That's the last of the containers, Miss Tron. We got them all! Okay, let's head back to the Gessel Shaft. Yes, Miss Tron!
The cargo missions, as I've said, are arguably one of the most interesting parts of the game, because even on repeated playthroughs, they can still be pretty fun and stumpy, at least for your brain. But thankfully, we are getting towards the end of them if you don't like them. And again, if you don't like them, you don't have to play them to beat the game. You just need to get the 2 million zenny, which we are very close to doing. With that, let's scout out some more sections of the map for extra items along the way. And I believe we're going to head right back into the next variant of that level. Or do we do the next farm level first? I honestly can't recall. Oh no, we go right back there. Alright. And if you look at our Zenny, we're actually getting pretty close. We're probably, in fact, no, we're gonna get the 2 million Zenny we need to reach the final area of the game from this alone. I believe the only serve bot I have left to get brains on might be like number 20? It's not that, it's number 28. Yeah, holy shit, number 20. I'm surprised I remembered that. Mind you, it's like number 20 is also the last serve bot you gain access to because he's in the torture room. We're going after Permiki Harbor one more time. We've seen containers with animals, cows and goats delivered, Miss Tron. Well, it's not fancy, but it's still worth money. I don't want to leave even one behind. Yes, Miss Tron. Let's move out. Yes, Miss Tron. All right, you heard him. Let's go.
All right, this is the last puzzle. You've all done a good job so far. Really? You mean it? Oh, thanks, Miss Tron. I'm counting on your experience to help me get all these containers. We're getting cattle this time. Be careful handling them, all right? Let's go! Roger!
These last 3 puzzles are easily the hardest. But in a strange way, the first one of the 3 is the hardest of the 3. In that this first puzzle is the only one that uses both the forklift we saw in the first set of level 6 missions and the cranes we saw earlier this very video. I don't know why the latter 2 don't do this, because I feel you could do some really interesting setups with just both these tools alone, alongside conveyor belts, but no, they decide to opt for, I think after this, I think just straight up cranes and conveyor belts. Kind of a missed opportunity, honestly, in my eyes. But that said, that means if you can figure out this puzzle without, you know, watching this video, obviously, because I'm doing the solution, you're gonna be able to beat this no problem. My only word of advice is to remember something I often do in my replays of this game. In that, just because you can't immediately see a tile doesn't mean it's not there. Because I often forget I could just go straight up behind buildings like this, and as I think I even showed off last part, or was that earlier this part, or was that later this part? I can't remember. Because that's, I think, one thing these cargo missions are lacking in a little bit, environmental variety. Because of that, it's hard to tell, barring like the obvious layout changes in the forklift / crane, it's hard to tell like level 2 mission 1 stage 3 from level 6, no, mission 6 level 3 mission 2, so to speak. It's hard to tell them apart. Also, this is easily probably the most stumping part of this puzzle to me. Because I sometimes forget I can aim with the beacon bomb while I'm picking up something, despite me having done that several times in this. I think it almost might come down to the fact that when I'm doing a puzzle type level in any game, I'm in a very different mindset than if I'm in like an action stage. Like, for Yakuza, for instance. I love those games to death, but when I'm playing like Mahjong in them or any of the minigames, I'm in a radically different mindset than I am when I'm doing the combat. Because my combat senses are a lot more aggressive than my more defensive minigame play styles. And that can screw me over sometimes, admittedly. Especially in Mahjong and Yakuza. God damn those AIs. Taking advantage of my defensive plays. Ugh, that trophy always sucks to get. Either way. I feel the biggest advantage that I can, or like the biggest advice I could give for these later stages is to not rush your movements. And I don't just mean like when you're picking up a box and you're moving, don't rush your movements so you don't, you know, waste one of your 10 moves. But take some time, jump on top of the crates, observe your surroundings, and try to figure it out from there. Grid paper can come in handy for this as well, though you could also, I guess, just use like Microsoft Excel or some shit to help you out with it. There's plenty of ways to figure these kind of puzzles out without wasting your turns, so to speak. And again, you don't need to go for the red crates. Honestly, the money you get from the later missions in here in particular is good enough without them that you can finish the game completely fine. I'm just going for them so you can see like the full puzzle solutions. And while I think certain earlier puzzles of this variety had a solution or two for them, I believe these later ones only have one solution each. At least if you want to get every crate. And admittedly, that tends to be how puzzle difficulties go. The higher you get, the more strict their rules become, and the confines with which you have to work within them. Mind you, it's like that's how difficulty curves work, Kyle. You know, thinking about it though, I really can't help but wonder, for Mega Man Legends 3, as it was, if they were going to incorporate any, like, Misadventures of Tron Bonne-esque minigames as a side thing. Like, obviously, you were going to have the main Legends gameplay with ruin diving, fighting the Reaver bots, all that kind of jazz. But I can't help but wonder if they were going to take any of the wacky inspiration from this game and have you work with the Servbots in any regards, be it to get Mega Man off that damn moon or otherwise, and just do random minigames like this where you got to maybe help people, like, get their cars out of a road with something like this. There was a lot of potential there, and I can't help but wonder if they were going to end up doing anything with that. But that's one of those cases where, at this point, unless one of the developers mysteriously loses the data and it ends up on the internet through unknown means, wink wink, we're never gonna see that. And it's not like it's unlikely that Capcom has, like, deleted the Legends 3 stuff, because honestly, knowing Capcom, they probably still have some of those files on hand. If anything, the Mega Man Zero ZX collection having, like, the original audio tracks for the uncompressed audio for the voice acting in that game still, all these years later, could mean they very well do still have that. And I don't think I've heard of Capcom having to rebuild any games from the ground up, because they lost the source code over the years, unlike Square and certain other companies. Mind you, that could also be a difference of Capcom of America versus Capcom of Japan, for all I know, too. The world we could have lived in. I think about it often. To the point that my friends make fun of me, but god damn it, we all have our passions. Oh no, I've messed up the puzzle. I'm just glad the game doesn't punish you for going back around, or going back a move if you mess up along the game. Obviously, you can't go back too many moves in a row. They do make you have to make your next move before you can redo the last one. But I'm at least glad they allow you to redo them, period. Because if this was like the RPG missions in this game, for instance, where if you screw up the Zig and Zag's quiz in level 2 of the RPG missions, you have to redo the entire set of 3 stages. They could have done that, and it would have sucked. Either way, this is the last crate of cow. So let's get it over to the ship and get the hell out of here.
That's the last of the containers, Miss Tron. We got them all. Okay, let's head back to the castle shaft. Yes, Miss Tron.
Now, something I don't think I've talked about yet is that when you finish a mission, period, like you've done all 3 levels of it, you can't actively go into that level again. So we can no longer access the cargo stages or whatsoever throughout the game. The only case that's not the case is with the free mission type at the Nakai Ruins. You can do that however times you want.
There! We finally got enough to pay the interest back. This time, we'll bring back Teasel and Bonne for sure! Have you found out where Loath is yet? Figures. We finally get the money, and then we can't contact him. Miss Tron, we've gotten a new report from number 15. He says that Lex Loath is engaged in suspicious activity in a warehouse at Primiki Harbor. Roger. Good job. All right. We're going to Primiki Harbor. Yes, Miss Tron, Chicky! She said we did a good job!
Unlike when we paid the first loan of 1 million or so zenny to Mr. Loth a few parts ago, where you just get sent right into the cutscene immediately, you have the option on the menu to pay back the loan of 2 million zenny anytime after obtaining said 2 million zenny. With that said, that locks you into endgame, and we still have some other missions to show off, so we're going to be waiting on that for at least a part. Actually, at most a part. Next video is probably going to be the finale, I'll be real with you. I haven't recorded it yet. But there's not much left in the game at this point. There's only 3 main missions left. The third level of the RPGs, the third level of the farm, and the third level of the bank. And I'll be frank, the bank and the end game will probably just be all of what next part is, because we're doing the RPG and the farm right now. Farm level 3 is probably the hardest out of them, but not because it's actually hard. More so because the animals we're going to be capturing this time are just kind of annoying to capture, period. Additionally, the mini-boss we're going to have to fight in it can do some real damage to the truck if you're not being careful. And honestly, at this point, I recommend bringing in anyone you want to. High speed and brains are recommended, as is anyone with, like, grenade if you need it. Well, so far we've gotten pigs and cows, so you must know what's next. Chickens! Wrong. Horses. Thoroughbreds sell for astronomical amounts of zenny. Horses can't be astronauts, Miss Tron. Anyway, horses are really fast and hard to catch, but I'll be helping you. You can do it. Yes, Miss Tron. All right then, let's go. Roger.
They're so beautiful, aren't they? We'll just have to take them all. These thoroughbreds will fetch a good price. Get them all. Yes, ma'am.
Alright, so the farm mission, we have 6 horses to capture, and the first, like, 2 minutes of it is exactly the same as it's always been. Again, the missions in this game are all really good, but anytime you're in the Gustav like this, you're almost always redoing the first, like, 2 to 3 minutes of a stage over and over again. The only case I'm really okay with that is Nakai Ruins, just because that's a bit of a different structure as it is anyway. For the main missions, it really feels like they were probably not stretched for time, but they probably were co-developing this in Legends 2 simultaneously, so they had to choose what got a lot of effort put into, like, every unique area. With that said, the horses are super annoying to catch, because unlike the pigs, which just kind of stood there, or the cows, which only really charged into you when you shot them, the moment you hit the cows with the beacon bomb, or the horses with the beacon bomb, rather, they run the hell away, and they will outrun the serve bots even if the serve bot speed is maxed out from my memory. What you have to do is wrangle them like they're bulls, essentially. When they're running, move perpendicularly to them to cut them off, they'll buckle, and then more than likely a serve bot will catch up to them and they'll get slowly led into the truck. They're easy to deal with, but they are definitely annoying, especially on the next screen, where we had to deal with the little egg-shaped robots before, because now we have to do that with moving targets. My favorite. Thankfully, because of the amount of health and armor I have, losing these missions is relatively unlikely. The most that'll happen is just it gets longer to edit. Because I honestly find Tron Bonne to be a hard game to die in. It's probably the easiest out of the Mega Man Legends games. And that's partially because you can do the missions in any order you like, you can do the easy ones to get some real quick zenny up, and then just use as much zenny as you can in order to raise your armor or raise your health to near ridiculous degrees. I'd argue Tron by the end of this game is more powerful relative to the game's difficulty than Mega Man is in either of the mainline Legends games. The only exception being maybe Maximum Shining Laser Legends 2? but that's kind of like saying, hey, your shotgun's nothing compared to my nuke. You know what I mean? Alright, this is the screen that sucks. I recommend you actively raid the house here and then destroy it, as that gives you more ways for the serve bots to get this horse in particular out of the fenced area. Additionally, it might give you more ways to shoot the egg bots or even the bird bots that show up to be like, hey, stop it. Get some help. And the additional Zenny I'll never say no to anyway. And I'm also going to speed this up because this horse takes a while. In fact, I'd argue this is probably one of the hardest screens in the game. Well, not hardest, most annoying. Just because I feel the bird bots also spawn much more frequently in this mission than they do any other mission of this type. Because they spawn back in super quickly. And theoretically, this can be really good for you. Because that means you could kidnap some extra bird bots for some extra bits of 500 Zenny. Not that that means much, but hey, you never know. And something I also recommend, even though it's not the most necessary, and this goes more for when you're in between missions. Before you pay back the loan to Mr. Loth, you only need 2 million Zenny flat for that. Any extra Zenny you have, I recommend putting towards developing some E-bottles, namely E-bottle 3 and 4s, just in the case you manage to lose a lot of health, so you can end up recovering a lot of it just as quickly. Last part when we did this mission variety, we went to the relative left of the truck in order to get to the rest of the cows. Now we need to head to the relative right, where more or less the same thing happens. We got a lot of bird bots, we got some horses, and we got one super angry farmer who's just not having us being on his turf. Unfortunately for him, he's a dude with a pitchfork. We're a teenage girl in a kick-ass robot that's also pink. And really, how can you fight against that? You can't. I do find it odd, though. Moving forward, the Gustav would basically just become tied with Tron iconography-wise, because like whenever she shows up in the Marvel vs. Capcom game, she's driving this thing. But they would use the green Teasel Bonne variant of it, more or less, moving forward, and I don't exactly understand why. I can maybe get it from one angle, and that's potential color theory, where it's Tron's personal details get less lost, in the details of the green Gustav than the pink Gustav. Or they just think it looks cooler, which, you know what, that's also cool too if that's the case. I do find it really depressing, though, in a lot of ways. Mega Man Legends' best, like, screen time since Legends 2 and Tron Bonne were released was almost always in fighting games, be it Marvel vs. Capcom 3 or Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. I did really appreciate how well the characters were shown off, namely Tron herself. In the Project Cross Zone games, though, mind you, I just think those are really fun tactical RPGs, even as overbloated as their difficulty curves and stage amounts can be.
We finished loading the truck, Miss Tron. Good. Let's get out of here. Miss Tron, one of Lode's robots has shown up again. They're persistent, aren't they? Come on, let's get this over with.
Alright, time to fight this thing again, but now, not only does it hurt you a little bit more, it's a bit more aggressive in going after the truck, and as you can see, it also hurts a lot more. That just did about a third of the truck's health with one blow. Thankfully, it's still super easy to stun lock this thing as long as you have the Gatling gun, because you can just shoot it until it dies. You do have to take care of the bird bots that spawn alongside it, though, as otherwise this fight's just never gonna end. This is one of the few cases where the actual lock-on comes into play in the game. It's odd, lock-on kind of is what you live or die by in Legends 2, and even to an extent in certain parts of Legends 1. In this game, though, it's easily the most useless it's ever been. And part of that's just because, in certain regards, the Gustav is a bit more capable than Mega Man himself can be.
Mission clear! Mission complete! We've got everything we came for! Let's head back to the Gessel Shaft! Yes, Miss Tron!
Alright, that's the final farm mission out of the way. I'm kind of surprised they didn't go for a unique boss to end those off with, especially compared to what some of the other mission types do, namely Nakai Ruins, even the RPG missions, and things of that nature. But at the same time, it's clearly not like the main focus mission type of the game, so I'm not too peeved about that. With that, only 2 main missions remain, and if you can't tell by how much time is left in the video, we're only doing one of them. We're gonna go finish off the RPG mission type. My favorites. Although honestly, this is probably the third digging variety mission is probably my favorite, just because the character interactions are ones I still find enjoyable even on repeat playthroughs. Actually playing, still not as much. Though I do like the boss fight too now that I think about it. Huh. Also, is it just me, or do these missions have relatively low payouts for the amount of time you put into them, compared to the even shorter missions throughout the game? Either way, let's get the details. Also, bring in any Sirbots you can that have, like, Grenade or Bazooka, which I didn't do last time, but I'm remembering to this time, because at this point all that's left for other Sirbots is to get their speed and attack up, which I'll probably be doing between a jump cut and next part. Alright, now let's get the details. Alright, there's only one Aurora Stone left, and we're going to get it! You'll have to go even deeper inside the ruins to find it, but it's there somewhere. I want you to leave no stone unturned. You need to look in every nook and cranny you see. What about places that are too hard for us to dig through, Miss Tron? You'll have to figure out what to do using whatever you find in the ruins. Now get going. We have to get the last Aurora Stone before anyone else finds it. Yes, Miss Tron. What is it? What about those digs hints we've been finding? Well, I guess it wouldn't hurt to try and find out what that's all about either. Yes, Miss Tron. Alright, let's get into it.
Alright, let's go get the last Aurora Stone. If it's the last one, does it mean it's the biggest? You bet it does. Is everyone ready? Let's go! Yes, Miss Tron!
Alright, starting off, we already have Modigan. There's a lot of NPCs in this one, by the way. I should note ahead of time.
Oh, so you're back, eh? Well, I won't let you get ahead of me again. Compared to the last one, this floor looks like it's got a lot of traps on it. You lads have changed since I last saw you. You look more like real diggers now.
Also, partially just due to how many NPCs and cutscenes there are in this particular RPG mission. This is easily where the NPCs have the most variant amount of dialogue. Some of them still have the usual 3, others only have 2 lines, and what the hell?
That looks like Uncle Dig. Let's go talk to him.
You're alive?
Excuse me, are you Uncle Dig?
Indeed I am. You've come quite a long way, haven't you? Have you been collecting the crystals?
Yes.
That's the spirit. A good digger never leaves a stone unturned and always follows every rumor.
Right, we will.
Have you been collecting the crystals? Oh well, to each his own.
Well, damn, I was always under the impression he died, but there he is. Huh?
Oh, you made it. How's it going?
Good timing. See there. Do you think you could give us a hand? Huh? How did these two end up together? Are you two together?
Does it look that way? Gosh, I don't know what to say.
you're kidding. Of course not, you numbskulls. What would I see in this fool? Anyway, we don't know how to get past this trap. Can you help us?
I know there's gotta be a switch around here somewhere. I know there's...
We've looked and we've looked. I think it's down this hall, but I'm not sure.
That is a strange pairing, and it's also only now occurring to me. Is it just me, or does Dance look the slightest bit like Simone from Gurren Lagann? Huh.
Miss Tron! We found some money! Way to go! That's a lot of money!
Now, mission 3 of the RPG type is honestly the most linear of the entire set. There's still some branching pathways, but they're usually pretty short this time around and lead either to a key card you don't need or some extras in one of the pots. There's only really one major branch, and you only need to mess with that if you've been doing the Uncle Diggs tips throughout the game to cap off that entire little plot line. Honestly, if it weren't for the boss fight, I might say this is honestly the easiest variant of this mission type, because the boss fight, compared to at least the rush of enemies at the end of Stage 2 and the Hanmuru doll variant back in Stage 1 of the variety, is probably the easiest one. It's also the most interesting one, but it's definitely also the easiest one. With that said, if you make sure you have some energy bottles on hand, outside of the ones you can find in chests in this very level, because the Finkel's health being as low as it is always going to cause some problems in case you get hit.
Miss Tron! There was a big noise from back there! Let's go check it out!
Well, shit, let's go see what that big boom was. Certainly it wasn't an explosion of any regard. I'm sure everyone's just fine. I just find coming back here and it's all silent and him like this. That's just good comedic timing.
Ow! Well, at least we can get through. Oh. You guys go on ahead.
Thanks. Now we can get through. I think Dance is a little worse for the wear, though.
Damn. Just leaving him to be, too. And do I hear laughter in the distance? That's unusual. Ooh, what's this? I detect an optional pathway to my north.
Oh no! It's the birds again! They never learn! Get them! Get them!
Give it your best shot! Ah!
Like with most of the Reaver bot fights we've done thus far outside of the boss fights, this is an entirely optional encounter, and it also allows me to show off something I forgot to do with the bird bot back in level 2 of this mission variety. After you defeat the bird bots, you can investigate them with the beacon bomb to get a line of dialogue. I'm not obviously going to go back and redo that first fight because no, but still I feel like I should at least show it off, period. Oh yeah, this is just how much faster enemies can go down with having grenade-type serve bots, because, you know, that much extra damage per second helps.
You're tougher than you look. Don't think you'll get away with this.
Oh, I absolutely will, at least until Legends 1, when things go a little bit south for the Bonds. For a little bit, at least. Legends 2, they're doing relatively fine.
Miss Tron, look! It's a treasure box! Can we use the card key to open it? Alright, here we go! Miss Tron, we found an e-bottle number 3 inside! Good, let's keep it in
Now, now that I think about it, how do the energy bottles work? Like, I can understand it maybe in the goose stuff. Because, like, maybe it's like a can of petrol / gasoline. You just kind of fill it into a cap. But what for the Finkel?
Hello there, little fellows. My name is Russell. Nice to meet you.
He looks like a veteran digger, doesn't he?
You better be careful. There's more traps from here on.
Thanks for the warning. We'll be careful.
I aspire to be like Dig. He's my role model. Have you found the Aurora fountain yet? It's in this area.
It honestly took me until seeing Russell the first time around to realize that Mega Man's armor in the main 2 games isn't like anything super unique. It's basically just customized, experienced digger armor, and I like that attention to detail. The closest thing we see to that outside of Russell is basically the one guy in Legends 2.
Are you collecting the crystals? You can find them here, you know. Are you collecting...
You really have limited dialogue, don't you, Mr. Dig? Uncle Dig? Dig. I remember playing through my first time, though. Honestly thinking that due to the, like, weird one eye, the beard and shit, that Uncle Dig was gonna be revealed to be, like, either a descendant of Dr. Light or Beryl from the main games. More so the former than the latter. I couldn't discount the potential of it. But no, it's a completely unique character. And you know what? He's cool. Also, these different walls, I believe you need the higher levels of drill to pass through? I think if you didn't grab the drill in the last level, I actually don't know how you progress this because I've always grabbed that drill.
What is it, Miss Roxette? Is something the matter?
Yes,
You can't get the door open?
that's right.
Not one for small talk, is she? Well, let's try to get it open, shall we?
Yes, Miss Tron.
Yes.
Alright, so in order to get under this door, beacon bomb under the door, someone will crawl under, and bada bing, bada boom, we're done.
Thank you. Being small is sometimes an advantage. Have you seen Dig yet? Thank you.
Yeah, I've seen Dig. He's around. Having a fine old dandy life. Kind of weird it took me until now to run into him, because honestly, the Dig's tips almost imply that they're written, like, in passing before he died. In fact, they kind of talk about him in such a way that I kind of imply he's dead before this, don't they?
Miss Tron, we found some money.
All right, that's great!
Ooh, I hear something in the distance. Holy shit, a ball trap! We haven't seen this since the first version of this mission type. Kind of weird they reintroduce it now of all times, but hey, they'll take it. Again, like with the first time, don't worry about your serve bots if they get bumped all over the place and conked unconscious. They're completely immortal and therefore will survive anything that hurts them. Which makes me wonder, is everything around this island on Ryship Island just super weak and that's why the serve bots are so competent? Or is Mega Man in the main games just that much of a superhero kind of character where that he can take care of that shit no matter what? Obviously you have like the in-lore stuff of what he is with being like the purifier unit and all that, but I might be reading far too much into Mega Man lore. What's that? Kyle reading too much into something? Never. I have a completely normal functioning brain that doesn't read too much into stuff when it shouldn't. Or no, when it should, and I've lost my sentence already because grammar is hard. At this point, some of the items to grab along the way here have lost some amount of purpose, admittedly, because going after certain missions in certain orders makes certain other missions kind of redundant in purpose, considering the main purpose of some of them is just to do the mechanic and then get Zenny. In certain cases, you do get some optional upgrades, such as the brain and attack cubes, or even the extra energy bottles. But if you already have all the 2 million zenny you need at this point in the game, like doing the cargo missions doesn't give you much else outside of just extra zenny to spend on yourself. Oh, and yeah, the Reaverbot trap rooms are back.
Miss Tron, look! It's a treasure box! Can we use the card key to open it? Alright, here we go! Miss Tron, we found an e-bottle number 3 inside!
Good. Let's keep it in case we need it later.
I honestly find the Reaverbot fights in the RPG segments almost a little out of nowhere outside of the boss fights, given that it's almost always one of two varieties of Reaverbot, either the one from Legends 1 you saw in the last mission alone, or those floating types. And I guess I just find the enemy variety a little bit lacking in that regard. Mind you, it's like combat isn't the main focus here.
It's one thing to risk your life, but be careful not to lose it. That's a digger's golden rule. This hole looks as if it goes all the way to the other side of the planet, doesn't it? It's one thing to... You've come at a good time, my little friends. Care to try your hands at disarming this trap?
Trap?
See that switch over there? If you push it, we can get across here. I was able to solve part of it and get this bar down, but I'm too heavy to use it to get across.
A bar, huh?
A man's gotta have courage. Don't tell me you're afraid to try. There should be a gate key over on the other side.
Gee, I wonder what I do. Is it beacon bomb the bar and then have a Surebot swing over and press the button? Congrats! You've done this mechanic a lot already at this point.
You did it! Now we can get across!
Hey, wait a minute!
Leave me alone! It's mine!
What's going on?
What's the matter?
Good question. Wait, they had a gate key? They're gonna open the gate!
Should we follow them, Miss Tron?
After we did all the work disarming the trap, too. I bet they'll get the treasure before we do.
Well, we should still continue on. This is an impressive mechanism. The ancients who built it must have been geniuses. Nothing is as exciting as a challenging, dangerous trap, huh?
I agree.
Well,
But still, that sucks that they stole whatever was over here. With that said, I have one question, and that's exactly where the hell did they go from here? Because this is a dead end. Ooh, a barrel. We haven't seen one of those since the first mission. With that said, you can bonk into it once or twice, but don't do it 3 times because that's when you explode. Woo. HP loss.
It's empty, Miss Tron!
You don't say, Servbots. But that's what I do at least appreciate that they have a line for that, because it shows that they thought about people doing that. Again, there's a lot of nice little attentions to detail in Tron Bonne that are really cute, but ultimately meaningless in certain regards. Mind you, I compliment Castlevania Symphony of the Night for the same kind of shit, so maybe I should just get my head out of my ass sometimes, you know? Just sit back, enjoy the fun stuff while it happens. Now, this latter part of the mission is where you get to do the truly optional things. Anything like in this Passage and Beyond is entirely optional if you haven't been doing the Mr. Diggs tips yet. And, did I see that right? Was that a skeleton to my right? Well, oh no, get the Zenny. Holy shit, it is. Well, this is suddenly Halloween appropriate. Let's see what it's about.
It's a skeleton! Yikes!
I guess not everyone makes it out of these caves.
Damn, that's that's kind of dark compared to the rest of the game. This is honestly, because thinking about it, this is probably the lightest Hard Legends game, but that's just out of nowhere, isn't it?
It says Uncle Dig's Tips.
Really? Read it then.
Yes, Miss Tron.
The crystal in this room is one of those needed to get the elixir of youth. I have collected all the crystals. With these, I should be able to make the elixir. But I don't know how.
Miss Tron, there's a pink crystal here. We'll pick it up, all right?
Wait, the skeleton here. Is it Dig's?
Huh? But we just talked to Uncle Dig, didn't we?
You're right. So who is this?
Yeah, there's no way that's Dig's skeleton. We just saw him alive. What do you mean I accidentally said something about this last part? Shut up. Before we head all the way south, now that we have the third crystal, because that down south is where the final resolution of this is, we actively do need to head north because there's a wall down there I believe you can't break until you get past this particular set of Reaver bots. With that said, it's the exact same thing we just did about 10 minutes ago, just I think with a few more Reaver bots. Thankfully, this is the last time, no, this is the second last time rather. We have to do a fight with Reaver bots as the Finkel. And thank God, because for being called RPG, this is not very interesting combat.
Yay! Miss Tron, look! It's a treasure box! Can we use the card key to open it? All right, here we go! Miss Tron, we found another drill inside!
Right, that's a hyper drill. Attach it to the serve-bot borer.
Yes, Miss Tron!
Now that we have that, we can more or less open up any single wall in the game. Not that there's many left in the game to begin with. Again, you don't actively need to do the Mr. Dig stuff throughout the entire levels.
Looks like you could dig through this wall here. I'm getting close to the last stone. I can feel it in my bones. Can't give up now. Not when I'm this close.
In fact, if you want to just head on to the end of the mission and completely ignore this, you can. You just have to hit the lever in the bottom right of this room with the beacon bomb. I believe that this wall additionally can only be destroyed if you have the hyper drill, so you need to have gotten both drills thus far. And thank God that's a health restore, so we don't need to use one of the E-bottles. Yet. So now let's head all the way south and see what this Elixir of Youth entire scenario is about, shall we? Again, I believe you need all the drills, because these walls definitely have different textures. And the ultimate reward for all of this is a puddle of water. What?
Miss Tron, the crystals are making a funny sound. They're fizzing. It looks like they react with water. Let's try putting them in this pool. Look! The water changed color. And there's a really sweet smell coming from it. Let's try some.
Wait, you can't just drink that. You don't know what it is.
Boy, I feel funny inside. Oh, tingly. I know. It feels like something's tickling my insides. This brown fizzy liquid sure tastes good.
The Elixir of Youth is root beer?
Thank you for solving the mystery. This means Dig can finally move on.
Move on? You mean...
That means...
That's right. This was the last thing keeping me here. I had to know the secret of the crystals. But now I can go on to that big dig out in the sky, thanks to you.
Wait a minute. You mean Dig was a ghost? A ghost? We are scared of ghosts!
So the ultimate reward for all that was root beer, huh?
I was Dig's assistant. I told him he was getting too old to be digging in his caves, but... Thank you for solving the mystery. I'm sure you made him happy.
And that's really it. You actually don't get an item for that whatsoever. Also, based off that dialogue, that was likely alcohol in the Japanese version, huh? Oh well. It's nice dialogue, and hey, it makes me feel good, because I actually helped someone for once in this game instead of, being the villain. What do you mean my entire goal here is to get my brothers back so that we can steal more shit? Shut up! And with that, we're honestly really close to the end of the level. There's only 2 more encounters left with it. No more distractions from here on out, though. Let's just head on down the path. Oh, hey, a distraction.
Fellas, glad you're here. Give me a hand.
What's the matter?
Pearl's been captured by those bird things.
That's what you get for trying to take what doesn't belong to you.
That's what you get for trying to take what doesn't belong to you.
Oh, come on, fellas, don't say that. You gotta help me.
I can't believe the nerve of this guy.
She's in serious trouble.
Miss Tron, should we help him?
Oh, don't say that. We're old friends. We're in this together, right? Please, help us.
Miss Tron, should we help him?
Thou must.
I guess we have to.
We'll help you.
Thank you. Come on, she's inside here. Those blasted birds! Hurry, hurry! Poor Pearl, she'll get pecked to death.
That sounds funny, but then I remember that's basically the plot of an Alfred Hitchcock movie, and yeah, let's go see if we can help at all.
There you are! Finally!
Help! Hey, you can't do that! Leave her alone!
Don't make any sudden moves!
Alright, let's get them! Is everyone ready?
Ready?
Get them!
Alright, this is just more of the same from earlier this very video, so we're just gonna speed this up a little bit, because this one ends up taking a while. Because if you end up overlapping the bird bots, hitting one versus accidentally targeting with the beacon bomb the one that's already taken out is actually a little bit tricky, as you can see here, because the beacon bomb is trying to automatically lock onto the one that's like on the floor and defeated. So it ends up taking a couple of grenade throws and a good enough amount of drills to take them all out.
Never underestimate a bird.
Well, that worked out remarkably well. Good kick there, Dance.
I was so scared.
Are you all right?
Well, he came to in the end, didn't he?
You were really impressive, Mr. Dance. Thank you. You did this for me?
Only doing what comes naturally to a digger. Thanks for your help, fellas.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry for everything I've done. Here, take this as a token of my thanks. Miss Tron, we got the room key!
Okay! That means the last Aurora Stone is ours!
Thanks for your help. up a lot since we first met. Well, you know what I mean. I was finally able to be the hero. Thanks for your...
I've learned my lesson. Nothing good comes from trying to con people. From now on, I'm going to work hard and earn my own keep. Looks like Gantz is a little more dependable than I thought.
Was that all your character arcs were about? I mean, mind you, it's like your characters aren't much of a character. They're more personalities than anything than... But, oh well. With that said, we now have the room key, so let's get out of here.
Now he too can proudly join the ranks of diggers. The final battle is close at hand. Are you ready for your last battle? You're sure to face a powerful Reaver bot.
That line of dialogue actually applies to next part too, more than likely.
Looks like we ran into each other again.
It is man's destiny to meet and part with others over and over, forever.
Uh-huh.
Are you trying to go this way?
Basically, yes.
Ignore him. Let's go.
Watch closely. I will show you how it's done.
Yeah! Foo! Chop!
Oh, he's fine. Wow. Masterfully done there, Tuttle. Our final obstacles are just redos of the traps from Mission 1. And it's kind of annoying because they're super fast, so getting to the switches can take a couple of tries for the Reaver bots, because if they get hit, they're more than likely just going to walk back at you anyway, and it's very easy to move too far forward because the Finkel's hitbox is kind of hard to judge. So you can take some really dumb hits here out of nowhere. Don't be surprised if it takes you a few minutes every time you play the game to get through this, but you'll get through it eventually. I doubt it'll ever take more than like 3 minutes, maybe 5 at the most. Still, let's see if he's made it through the door. Oh, you're just standing here.
I don't have the room key.
God, you're a dipshit. I love you, you Twitter checkmark speaking idiot.
He's Tron! The door's locked! Should we use the room key we got from Miss Burrow?
Yes, go ahead. Well, this is it. Isn't it exciting? I wonder what's on the other side.
If you guess a boss fight, you're correct.
Like a strong one! Of course! This is the last guardian of the Aurora Stone. Don't hold back!
Yes, Miss Tron! We'll give it all we got!
Alright, final boss of the RPG mission types, or I guess Digout mission types more accurately, is Graverwa, I think this thing's name is. It's actually relatively simple to fight. When it's just standing there, it'll shoot some enemies and missiles out of its holes that'll slowly track onto you, but if you shoot a beacon bomb into one of the holes, one of your non-Surfbot borer Surfbots will enter that hole and do damage. Once all the holes are entered and damaged, the boss is dead. After you damage it each time, though, it will start spinning around the room, trying to run into you and eventually kind of charge up to do one big ram into your face. But as long as you're pretty proactive, it doesn't get much of a chance to do anything outside of the spinning attack. Also, I believe after a certain amount of time, it will try to spin into you to do damage anyway. It's just that it always does it as a counterattack as well. If you're super fast about this fight, it still takes a while, to be frank with you. It hurts a lot, too, as you can see, but it's relatively easy. The hardest part about it, I feel, is later on in the fight. It's very hard to reach the 1 or 2 holes left because they might just accidentally be on the other side of the boss fight, and there's nothing you can really do about that at that point, unfortunately. You also can't do more than 1 hole's worth of damage at a time. When I first played the game, I thought I could maybe have my Serbots throw some grenades at it for extra chip damage, but no, I don't think that's possible at all. This fight ain't bad, and honestly, it is the easiest out of the Finkel-type boss fights. Honestly, the second one's probably the most annoying one. The first one's the most dangerous. This is just kind of there. Very Mega Man Legends 2 enemy design, though, because they kind of got a bit more extreme with the Reaver bot designs in Legends 2, because in Legends 1, they were all very, not similar, but more mechanical in nature. Starting in 2, they tend to get a bit more organic with them in a more literal sense. But, yeah, that's about all I can say for this boss fight. It's pretty easy. Do I wish there was maybe a second phase to it? Maybe, but can't really do much about it. There's not much you can do for combat while you're in the Finkel, so we're just kind of stuck with it. I am kind of impressed with the game, though, on a technical level. All these fire sprites rotating around the thing, and the game doesn't really slow down much at all. If this was Legends 1 or even Legends 2, that would probably slow down a bit. Mind you, they're not rendering too much technically, it's just the environment and the serve bots, and I guess maybe a Finkel model just off screen, because I doubt they spawn one in just to, you know, have it do the little dash attack. Again, kind of, Legends 2 and Tron Bonne are pretty technically impressive games for the PlayStation 1, all things considered. Mind you, they have the benefit of coming out in 2000 or so, so they had more or less the entire console's lifespan under their belt at that point. The PS2, I think, was already out in Japan by the time these games came out, even if memory serves correctly. Either way, that's the Digout missions.
Did it, Miss Tron? Look! It's a giant refractor!
Wow! This stone must be worth at least 500,000 zenny!
How specific!
Well done! I'm impressed that you were able to get to this before I did.
He's right! You did a great job! You're the best bunch of diggers I've ever seen!
Really, Miss Tron? Yay! Thank you!
I can attest to that. You may be small, but you're not little. You're full-fledged diggers.
See? What did I tell you? All right then, we've got what we came for, the last Aurora Stone. Let's get out of these caves and back to the Gesellschaft.
Roger!
I like to imagine Samson, after they leave, just going, "Did I just get outclassed by a teenage girl driving a pig and 3 children? Oh, that makes me reconsider life." Either way, the Digout missions are thankfully done. Again, as I've said time and time again, this LP, on the first playthrough, those missions are fun because of all the new dialogue and the cute interactions. Repeat playthroughs, they're the most tedious part of the game. But with that, I'm gonna need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching. Again, thank you so much for 270 subscribers. I'm sorry the celebratory videos that I'm getting out within this relatively short span took so long to come out. I've just been heavily procrastinating and distracted all at once, and with my brain, that's a bad combination. It really means a lot, and I'm thankful for every single one of you that watch. With that, though, in the next part, which is probably going to be the finale, we're going to be heading out after the final bank mission, as well as the end game. See you guys then. That'll probably be out within the week. If it's not, well, have a happy Halloween, and I guess you'll see it next month. Yeah, see you guys then.